Do you want to speak English naturally, like a native speaker?
Then stay with us because we've got 100 real-life English sentences you'll actually use every day.
Let's start with the first one and don't forget to repeat after us.
Hello, friends. Let's start in the morning. Every morning, I try to wake up at least an hour before I actually need to leave the house, just so Elle can enjoy some peace and quiet while preparing for the day.
As soon as I get out of bed, I open the windows to let in some fresh air, which instantly helps me feel more awake and ready to start moving.
One thing I never skip in the morning is drinking a big glass of water, because I read somewhere that it helps boost your metabolism and rehydrate your body after sleep.
After brushing my teeth and washing my face, I usually make a light breakfast with eggs, toast, and maybe a bit of fruit to give myself some energy without feeling too full.
While I'm eating breakfast, I often listen to a podcast or some relaxing music because I believe how you start your day can really affect your overall mood.
Before I head out, I quickly check the weather forecast on my phone to make sure I'm dressed appropriately and don't get surprised by unexpected rain or cold winds.
If I have a busy day ahead, I like to write down a short to-do list so I can stay focused and feel more organized throughout the day.
I try to leave the house 10 minutes earlier than I actually need to, because it gives me some buffer time in case of traffic or other delays.
When I see my neighbors in the morning, I usually smile and say something like, "Hope you have a great day," because even a small gesture can brighten someone's mood.
On my way to work, I often listen to English learning podcasts because I love the idea of improving my language skills while commuting.
Whenever I arrive at the office, I greet my coworkers with a cheerful, "Good morning," and sometimes add a little comment about the weather to break the ice.
At work, when I need help from a colleague, I usually say, "Would you mind giving me a hand with this task?" I'm having a bit of trouble figuring it out on my own.
If I make a mistake at work, I try to be honest and say, "I'm really sorry about that." I'll make sure to double check my work next time to avoid repeating the error.
When I finish a big project, I like to share the results with my team and say something like, "I couldn't have done this without your help, so thank you all for the support."
During lunch breaks, I sometimes join my colleagues for a quick walk, and we talk about things outside of work to help us relax and recharge.
If I'm working with someone new, I always introduce myself properly and say, "Hi, I'm Emily. It's really nice to meet you. I've heard great things about your work."
When I have meetings, I take notes to remember key points, and at the end, I usually summarize by saying, "So just to confirm, here's what we agreed on moving forward."
If someone gives me feedback, even if it's critical, I try to respond with, "Thanks for pointing that out. I really appreciate your honesty. I'll work on improving that."
After a long day at work, I always take a few minutes to clean up my desk so I can start fresh the next morning without feeling overwhelmed.
And once I'm done with everything, I log off and say, "I'm heading out now. Have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow."
When I get back home from work, the first thing I usually do is take off my shoes, change into something comfortable, and just sit down for a few minutes to breathe.
I like to light a scented candle or put on some relaxing background music because it helps create a calm atmosphere where I can unwind after a busy day.
In the evenings, I sometimes cook simple meals like pasta with vegetables or stir-fried rice because they're quick, tasty, and don't take too much effort.
If I'm not in the mood to cook, I might order something online, but I always try to choose a healthier option, like grilled chicken or a salad.
After dinner, I usually wash the dishes right away because I know if I leave them overnight, they'll feel even more tired looking at them in the morning.
I often spend a little time reading a book or watching a series on Netflix just to relax my brain and take my mind off work and responsibilities.
When I'm really tired, I take a warm shower before bed because it helps my muscles relax and makes it easier to fall asleep peacefully.
Before going to sleep, I like to write down 3 things I'm grateful for in a small notebook. It's a habit that helps me stay positive even on tough days.
I try to avoid using my phone in bed because Lev read that too much screen time at night can mess with your sleep quality and make it harder to fall asleep.
When I finally lie down, I often take a deep breath and say to myself, "You did your best today, and tomorrow is a new chance to try again."
When I go shopping for groceries, I'll always take a list with me so I don't end up buying random things I don't really need.
At the supermarket, I usually ask employees, "Excuse me, could you tell me where I can find the almond milk?" So I don't waste time looking around.
When I reach the cashier, I always greet them with a smile and say, "Hi, how's your day going?" Because a little kindness can make someone's shift better.
If I go to a clothing store, I'll often ask, "Do you have this shirt in a medium size or maybe a different color?" To see more options before deciding.
At a cafe, I like to order by saying, "Hi, could I please get a cappuccino with oat milk and a chocolate croissant to go?" Being polite always helps.
If something's wrong with the order, I'll try to say it nicely, like, "Sorry to bother you, but I think there was a small mistake with my drink. Could you check it?"
When I pay, I often say, "Keep the change." Especially if the service was good, it's my way of saying thank you.
After a pleasant meal at a restaurant, we'll usually leave a tip and say, "Thank you. Everything was lovely. I'll definitely come back again."
If I'm with friends at a cafe, I might ask, "Do you want to split the bill evenly, or should we each pay for what we ordered?"
And when I leave a place, I'll always say something like, "Thanks so much. Have a great day." Because good manners leave a good impression.
When I catch up with an old friend, I'll usually start with, "It's so good to see you again. It feels like it's been forever since we last talked."
If a friend seems upset, gently ask, "Hey, is everything okay? You don't seem like yourself today. Do you want to talk about it?"
When someone shares something exciting, I respond with, "Wow, that's amazing news. I'm so happy for you. You totally deserve it."
If a friend helps me with something important, I say, "Thank you so much. I really don't know what I would have done without your help."
When I need support, I try to be honest and say, "I'm having a rough day. Do you have a few minutes to just listen?"
If I want to give advice, I start with, "I'm not an expert, but based on what you told me, maybe you could try talking to them calmly and honestly."
When someone makes me laugh, I say, "You always know how to make me smile. Being around you just makes life lighter."
If I make a mistake, I take responsibility and say, "I'm sorry for what I said earlier. It came out wrong and I didn't mean to hurt you."
When someone apologizes to me, I try to respond with kindness and say, "It's okay. We all make mistakes. I appreciate your honesty."
And when saying goodbye, I like to say, "Take care and let's not wait so long before seeing each other again."
When I call someone, I usually start with, "Hey, I hope I'm not calling at a bad time. I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing."
If I miss a call, I send a message like, "Sorry I couldn't answer earlier. I was in the middle of something. Is it okay if I call you back now?"
When I text someone for the first time in a while, I say, "Hey, it's been a while. I was just thinking about you and wanted to say hi."
If I get a confusing message, I usually respond with, "Could you please explain that a little more? I'm not quite sure what you meant."
Before sending an important email, I always reread it to check for mistakes and make sure it sounds professional and respectful.
When someone texts me late at night, I reply in the morning saying, "Hey, I just saw your message. I had gone to bed early last night."
If I'm running late, I always let the person know by saying, "I'm really sorry, I got stuck traffic. I'll be there in about 15 minutes."
When ending a call with a friend, I'll like to say, "It was so good to hear your voice. Let's catch up again soon, okay?"
If someone sends me useful information, I reply with, "Thanks a lot for this. It's exactly what I needed and really helped me out."
When I accidentally send a message to the wrong person, I laugh it off and say, "Oops, that was totally not meant for you. Sorry about that."
When I use public transportation, I'll always try to be mindful of others by not speaking too loudly or blocking the aisle with my bag.
If I'm going to a new place, I double-check the route on Google Maps and say, let's see how long it'll take and which stop I need to get off at.
When I get in a taxi or rideshare, I say, "Hi there, I'm heading to this address. Feel free to take the fastest route, whatever works best for you."
At the airport, I usually ask, excuse me, could you tell me where the check-in counter for international flights is, to avoid wasting time?
When going through security, I always take off my belt and empty my pockets ahead of time to make the process smoother for everyone.
While traveling, like to say to locals, hi, I'm visiting from another country. Could you recommend a good place to eat around here?
If I'm checking into a hotel, I say, "Hello, I have a reservation under the name Jack Adams. Is early check-in possible by any chance?"
When something isn't right with my hotel room, I politely say, sorry to bother you, but there seems to be an issue with the air conditioning. Could someone take a look?
Before I go exploring a new city, I usually ask the hotel staff, what are the top things to do nearby that locals love?
And when I leave a place I enjoyed, I always say, thanks for the amazing stay. Everything was perfect and I'd love to come back someday.
When I feel a little under the weather, I'll usually say, I think I might be coming down with something, so I'm going to rest and drink lots of water today.
If someone tells me they're sick, I respond with, I hope you feel better soon. Don't forget to get some rest and take care of yourself.
At the doctor's office, I explain, I've been having a mild cough and a bit of a fever for the past 2 days. I just want to make sure it's nothing serious.
When picking up medicine, I always ask the pharmacist, can you please explain how often I should take this and whether I need to eat before?
If I need to cancel plans due to illness, I'll say, I really hate to do this, but I'm not feeling well and I think it's better to rest and not risk getting anyone else sick.
After recovering, I like to say, I'm finally feeling like myself again. Being sick really makes you appreciate feeling normal.
When I want to encourage someone, I say, don't worry, you're strong and you'll get through this. Just take things one step at a time.
If someone looks exhausted, I gently say, you've been working really hard lately. Maybe it's time to take a short break and recharge a little.
When talking about mental health, I often say, it's totally okay to not be okay sometimes. Just know that you're not alone in how you feel.
And when I need support myself, I say, I just need someone to listen, not fix things. Can you just be here for me for a moment?
When I talk about my dreams, I say, one day, I'd love to live near the ocean, wake up early, and write while watching the sunrise every morning.
If someone's struggling with motivation, I say, remember, progress is still progress, even if it's slow. Keep moving forward at your own pace.
When I feel overwhelmed, I remind myself, you don't have to do everything today. Just focus on the next small step in front of you.
If a friend tells me they're afraid to fail, say, failing doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means you're brave enough to try.
I always try to live by the idea that the life you want won't happen by accident. You have to choose it, work for it, and believe it's possible.
When I achieve something important, I'll say to myself, you did it. All the hard work, all the stress, it was all worth it in the end.
If someone inspires me, I say, the way you handle challenges with strength and grace really motivates me to be better every day.
When someone gives up too quickly, I'll gently say, it's okay to rest, but don't quit. Your future self will thank you for continuing.
I believe that success is not just about talent or luck. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard.
And finally, I always remind myself and others, life is short, so don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now with what you have, right where you are.